What's up, Thrashers, and welcome to episode number 2 of 5 Questions with Levi, The Return! Yes, I am back for yet another week of questions from you guys who asked me during the comment section of last week's debut or return episode, and I'm back to answer some more. And real quick note, yeah, my hair looks shiny. That's because I just got out of the shower not too long ago when I recorded this video. So yeah, freshen up, ready to go. Let's answer some questions! Question number 1. Keith Miller Jr. asks, what is your opinion on Grant Infinger going part-time racing in the 98 truck? I think it's a stupid decision because, I mean, Infinger's still at the top of his game. He won a bunch of races last season and almost got the championship. I feel like because of the fact that Thor Sport decided to go from Ford to Toyota, which I think is a dumb decision, I guess Toyota really wanted Christian Eckes in a part-time ride? No disrespect to Christian Eckes, I think he has potential, but why? Why have him and Infinger share a truck when they could be in separate trucks full-time? I mean, Infinger still has a chance to get a championship, but after King Fad made his prediction a couple of weeks ago that Infinger was going to be in the Final Four, and then not too long after that video came out, the news came out that Infinger was going part-time, and it's like, well, King Fat was kicking him in the nuts, so he changed his prediction to Matt Crafton. But because King Fat was still upset about the 500, he ain't coming back for NASCAR videos this year. In fact, who knows when we're going to see him again, so I don't know what to tell you, folks. Question number 2. Dale Earnhardt
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
asks, what's your opinion on these 3 bands? ACDC, Scorpions, and Alice in Chains. Well, I think all 3 bands are amazing in their own right. ACDC, arguably one of the top 5 greatest rock bands of all time, for the mere fact that they're able to keep putting out consistently really good releases. Even if they all follow the same formula, it works for ACDC because that's all they know and it's all we really want. You know, I mean, don't expect to listen to, like, progressive time signatures and crazy shredding, like, classical shredding, like, with AC/DC. Expect a good time, good catchy songs, and that's all we really ever want from AC/DC, if I'm gonna be honest. Anyone who demands them do something different, well, then, just scoot on out of here. Now, as far as the Scorpions go, I think the Scorpions is a very underrated band. And a lot of people are divisive of whether or not people can call them heavy metal. I think you can call them a heavy metal band because they're heavy enough to fit, especially in that 70s to mid-80s period, like albums like Taken by Force, Love Drive, Virgin Killer, and then into the 80s with Animal Magnetism, Blackout, and Love at First Sting. They're all pretty metal for their time, so I would call Scorpions a metal band, no doubt. Bordering on hard rock, of course, but they're heavy enough to be considered metal, in my opinion. And then Alice in Chains, one of my top 10 favorite bands of all time. I mean, out of all the bands that came out of the grunge scene in the 90s, Alice in Chains, in my opinion, was the superior band out of all of them, and the most metal. And I'm going to call them, I'm going to say it right now, I probably have said it several times before, whether it be on the Horseman podcast or in random videos of the past. Alice in Chains is not grunge. They are metal. If anything, they're a doom metal band, because they fit in line with old Black Sabbath, with Saint Vitus, with Trouble. They fit that bill of dark, slow, depressive metal, and that's what doom metal is. So why aren't people calling Alice in Chains a doom metal band? I don't get it. But now to the other part, if I had to choose my favorite album from each band, for AC/DC, I would go with Powerage, rest in peace Bon Scott. For the Scorpions, I would say Blackout, and then for Alice in Chains, I would say Dirt, rest in peace Lane Staley, and Mike Starr. Question number 3 comes from Space Metal Ferrari 248. Who do you think are the best NASCAR commentators? Well, right off the bat, Bob Jenkins is up there. He's a classic from the 80s through the 90s. He was a great commentator. Ned Jarrett, as far as a driver coming in to do commentary. I don't know. It's between Ned Jarrett and Benny Parsons. It's really hard to say who was the best driver commentator of all time. If I had to choose one, I guess because I'm more familiar with Benny Parsons than Ned Jarrett, I would say Benny Parsons. But other ones, I like Alan Bestwick. And it's hard to deny Mike Joy. I'm gonna be honest. It's hard to deny Mike Joy. What else can I tell ya? Question number 4 comes from BlazeLife334. Is this a tandem of the Alexes coming back to haunt me? Because I think it is. Anyways, he asked, what's your opinion on Icarly and Drake and Josh? I'm going to say it right now, I loved both of those shows growing up. Drake and Josh, I have more an affinity for because, I mean, the first time I ever saw Josh Peck was in that movie Max Keeble's Big Move, and I thought he was pretty funny in that movie. As far as Drake, I didn't get to see much of Drake Bell until back in the day. For those who may not remember, back in the day, if you had Dish Network, you had the Nickelodeon Gas Channel, where it was mostly sports and old shows. Or it might have been, Nick Gas, they did have some of that stuff, but there was another Nickelodeon channel that you used to get on Dish Network. I think it was like, what the hell was it? Or it might have been on standard Nickelodeon at the time, but they had the Amanda Show, and I used to love Amanda Bynes when I was a kid, and that's where I saw Drake and Josh together. And then 2004, when you see the show Drake and Josh come out, I used to watch it so much. It was an awesome show, one of the best live-action Nickelodeon sitcoms they've done in the past 2 decades. In my opinion, the best, if you ask me. And then iCarly kind of being a spin-off of that a little bit, but not really. Both shows with Miranda Cosgrove, and I used to have a crush on her when I was a kid, and she's only a year older than me, so it's not that bad. And then also, I liked Jerry Trainer. He's, to me, like a kid-friendly version of Jim Carrey. Like, he can overact so well, act goofy, and he was on both shows. I liked him preferably as Crazy Steve. Hey, cock-a-doodle-doo, the cow says moo! If you go back to YouTube and you watch that clip and you see the actress who played Mindy in Drake and Josh when he says that, you can tell she's trying not to laugh because it just came out of nowhere and it was awesome. And I think it was that really big shrimp special they did, which was a pretty good special if you ask me. But yeah, I really liked both shows. If I had to choose one, Drake and Josh, hands down. I like iCarly too, and I hear they're gonna revive that show eventually, which I'm curious to see how that will go. But Drake and Josh, mwah, perfection. Final question of the week, question 5 from Dale E988. So, you fell into Billions and started a cup team and had free reign on any 4 drivers. Who do you pick up? Well, you didn't clarify if it was of all drivers in the history of the sport or current day. But because there was no specification, I'll do them separate. I'll do 4 from before 2017 and then 1 from 2017 to now. So yeah, as far as like the classic roster, Carl Edwards would be my first pick, no doubt about it. I would pick Davey Allison. I would pick Mark Martin. And for the 4th one, I would like to get another young gun in there to kind of build up the youth part of the team. Who would be a good 4th pick? You know what? I'll throw in fucking Justin Allgaier. It'll be Allgaier, Martin, Davey Allison, Carl Edwards for my team from the past. Now, from today's scope of drivers, Austin Terrio, just so he can have a fucking ride, and a good ride. Ryan Blaney, Daniel Hemrick, and for the fourth guy, that's a tough one. Brett Moffitt. Why not? So yeah, those would be my choices. And again, since you didn't give me criteria, I had to do it in 2 parts because you didn't leave me any criteria. So to recap, my old school version of the team, it would be Carl Edwards, Mark Martin, Davey Allison, Justin Allgaier. For current day, Austin Terrio, Ryan Blaney, Daniel Hemrick, and Brett Moffitt. I think both of those teams would be powerhouse teams, no doubt about it. What manufacturer would it be? Ford. We need more Fords, especially in trucks, because for God's sake, since ThorSport went to Toyota, why are there less Fords now in the field? It's stupid and makes no sense. But anyways, that does it for this week's edition of 5 Questions with Levi, The Return. I will see you next week, and a reminder, 1 question per user, comment section below of this video only, and I will be back next Thursday to answer more. But until next time, horns high, and I'll see you soon.
Right underneath you. You're just gonna have to run around for a second while I... Oh. Okay.
Why is there so much... Oh god, there's a horde of spiders.
You were slain by spiders, man. I'm not a secret island.
You're just on an island paradise while we're over here fighting for our lives.
We're at the same coordinates I was at
so many
before.
sounds out
Just
there.
killed a
Right?
zombie by
Okay, I'm here. Oh my god!
They were multiplying!
There's so many! What the fuck?
There are so many zombies! What is this? I don't think I've ever seen that many zombies in a group.
I don't want to be out here
ever in my
anymore. I've
life.
decided.
Must be
I've decided I don't want to be here. Okay, never mind. I'm not heroic, as it turns out.